know that in today's time, we have been taught to mind our own business, and if we see anything, not to say anything about it. And I know that in certain situations, CPS can and does get involved. But for one little boy, this little boy here, William Hamilton, CPS and others' help came too late. If you want to know more about this case with William Hamilton, please continue watching.
Warrant has been issued.
And it's just so many questions that I have.
Memorial sign
It makes it really
is on the route.
And I bet he would run after what he's done.
A number of people.
The FBI is offering a reward. What was the order of events?
Never stop looking.
Police are now questioning a number of people.
This little boy here, William Hamilton, was like so many other children his age at the age of 6. He loved reading books. He didn't want you to read books to him. He wanted to read the books to you. He liked big words, and he was just an all-around normal 6-year-old kid who liked crayons and coloring books and things of that sort. But at some point during 1998, his mother pulled him out of school in Charlotte, North Carolina, to move to Atlanta, Georgia. And this is where the tragedy of what happened to William Hamilton started. At first, things were going good for Teresa Black, which is William Hamilton's mother, but back then she was going by Teresa Ann Bailey. But for the sake of this story, we'll call her Teresa Black. She was an exotic dancer in Atlanta, Georgia, and she had another job, but shortly after getting to Atlanta, somehow she wound up losing her job. And she started staying in hotels at first, her and William, but then the money was slowly running out. So they started to stay in shelters, and then when that ran out, they just stayed in the woods where they could sleep, because in some areas it would be quieter than others. So that's where they would sleep sometimes, or at least that's the story that she tells. There's a lady that we're going to call Erica for the sake of this story, because I sadly forgot her name. But she is the one who called to identify the little boy who for so long was known as a John Doe or a child Doe, and they eventually came to call him Clifton Doe. And that was unfortunately little William Hamilton. This young lady who reported him and identified him as missing and who he was, she was friends with his mother. And this is a picture of the mother right here, Teresa Black. But this young lady was friends with Teresa, and she said that she would often see William. He would be looking unkempt, which means his hair would be uncut, or, it would just be all over the place. He would be looking dirty and disheveled, and his clothes and his body odor smelled like he hadn't been bathed. And the odor got so bad to the point where the school was even starting to complain. And I think that's one of the reasons that she pulled him out of school before they left Atlanta, so that CPS couldn't get involved. And that's probably also why she moved to Atlanta, so that CPS could not get involved. But unfortunately, at some point during this time, like I said, Teresa moved to Atlanta, so this young lady never saw William or her again. But all these years, she never forgot about William. She always remembered him. And it was just, she always wondered what happened to them, especially since her and Teresa were friends. She wanted to know, how they were doing and see if, they could rekindle their friendship or reconnect anyway. And then when she saw that there was a little boy that might be missing, and they did like a clay rendering of him that they normally do when they don't have any facial tissue to use to recognize you by once your skeleton has been decomposed. They did this on him, and she recognized him as William, and she did the right thing and called in and gave a tip. And that is why I often say it is never, ever, ever too late to leave a tip. And even the smallest thing that you think you might know could help. And this is an example of what tips like this do, even though they may come a few years, or in this case, a few decades later. Because he had been unidentified for, I think it was 25 years. And thankfully now he can be laid to rest with his proper name. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Now, let's go back to his mother, William's mother. Let's go back to her. Remember, I said that the school and Miss Erica, she would complain. She would say that William would look like he hasn't bathed in a while, and his clothes were dirty and everything of that nature. And like I said, the school also complained about his body odor as well. Now, keep all that in mind, but she said that Teresa would keep her nails, her hair, her makeup, and everything done, but yet and still her son is walking around with dirty clothes on, his hair unkempt. He hasn't bathed, obviously. And so that makes no sense to me, because a lot of people, or as you will hear during the trial, people are saying, or going to say, her lawyers, for instance, are going to say that she was doing the best that she could with the resources that she had as a single mother. But I don't think that that is the case, because Erica, who was friends with Teresa, who's the one that made the tip, said that Teresa had all these different resources. Like, she would have people to give William clothing. She wouldn't let him wear them. They would give him toys. She wouldn't let him play with them. They would, ask if he could come over to play with their kids. She wouldn't let him. Erica even offered to take him out, one time, I guess with her kids or just him and her, because she saw that he was not being, he was being left out, basically, you know, not by the other kids, just, by his mother as well. And she felt like he really needed somebody to show him that they want him around, but Teresa would never let him go anywhere. So I don't know how people are saying, oh, she did the best that she could with what she had. No, she was doing the best for herself, and she was not thinking about her child. And I'm guessing that is what led to his death. The fact that he was not only neglected, but I do believe that when he died that day in those woods where they were supposed to be sleeping, that she did drug him, because acetaminophen and I think it's diphenhydramine were found in his system or in the tissues that they were able to collect from his body. And those medications were found in his system, along with, I think it was like cough syrup or something. But I do know that diphenhydramine is a Benadryl of sorts, and I'm not sure where the acetaminophen came from. It could have been in the cough syrup, but I'm not really sure about that because they don't specify. And not to mention, after she had drugged this poor child, she says she went to sleep and then she woke up to find him, William, dead next to her. And her lawyers are saying that she gave him cough syrup because he was sick, and that's what any normal parent would do. Okay, how about taking him to the doctor as well to make sure that it's nothing else wrong, like he didn't have the flu or pneumonia or something and needed antibiotics, something that a over-the-counter medication or cough syrup clearly was not going to help out with. I think that she did this on purpose. She drugged the boy, and he had a skull fracture right underneath his eye. So she basically struck him with an object, or more like, hit him over the head with an object several times. And then she left him there to, pass away in those woods. And she just got up, went to Arizona, started a new life like nothing happened. She even has a daughter. And when police came to question her about the little boy that was found in the woods to see if she knew anything or knew who he was, because they had already had a lead by this time, she said she never had a son. She was denying anything about William being her son. She said she didn't have a son. And then after so long, the police kept coming back to her, and she was saying, oh, she's really sad about what happened to him. And then finally she cracked and said, okay, yeah, that was my son. I'll, tell you the truth. And this is the supposed truth that she came up with. But, I believe it's all lies. But, who am I? Because I also believe that she should get the same punishment that she did to her son. Just my opinion. Oh, and let's back up for a second here too. And I'm pretty sure somebody would think this, but she had help in Charlotte where she left to come to Georgia, or go to Georgia, sorry. She left Charlotte to go to Georgia, and she had help in Charlotte, which I don't understand. Why would you leave your support system and your help to come somewhere where you don't know anybody or have any help? I mean, that just sounds crazy to me. But, I don't know anything, so I can't understand why she would leave her support system, where I'm pretty sure she could have stayed with someone until she got back on her feet, rather than move all the way to Georgia where she doesn't know anybody, have any family or friends, and suffer. I mean, that's just, crazy to me. But yet again, what do I know? But the kicker for me was when I found out that William's father, he had not seen William since he was very young. I think like the age of 2 or 3 maybe. So he didn't, know anything. He said that he's tried to see his son over the years, but Teresa kept barring him or making it impossible for him to see his son. But get this as the kicker. he wasn't paying child support at first, but then he got a letter from, the child support department saying, hey, you owe this money, we need you to pay. And this man was paying these child support payments only to find out years later that the son that he had been paying child support for was deceased and had been for quite some time. So I think, if my memory serves me correctly, she took out child support on her son after he was deceased, which is crazy to me. And the father also says that he had, or what he thought he was having, a conversation with William a few years before, and it wasn't him. He knows that now, that it wasn't him. And he said that at first it did him some good knowing that, he got to talk to his son, because he wanted to reconnect with him. But he's now saying that now that he knows that that wasn't William, the conversation doesn't do much for him anymore. I know it kind of takes away from the fact that this is a true crime case, but I am seriously wondering, now that it is known that she took out child support for a child that was already deceased, does she have to pay that money back to the state, or does she have to pay the father back for all of the money that he paid for a child that was no longer alive? I'm wondering how that works, or will they just add that into her charges, because this is still an ongoing trial. I think they are in day 4, or well, it will be day 4, because today is Tuesday, so they will be in day 4 on Thursday, which is the day after tomorrow at the time that I'm recording this video. So I think they will be on day 4 of the trial on Thursday, and I think the defense will give their final piece of testimony. And I really seriously hope that she does not get off due to a technicality or anything like that. I hope it is unanimous across the board that she is guilty, and it is laid out perfectly without reasonable doubt or anything like that as to why she is guilty. I'm just wondering, because I think that she not only used that site to, as she say, get some rest where it was quiet for her and William. I think that she stayed in those woods that day or that night because she was going to leave his body there, and she knew it. So basically she used those woods as a dumping ground, just like the lady and her boyfriend did in the Jane Doe case that I covered a couple of weeks ago, who now has her identity as Kenyatta Odom. But I just think about things like that, like how I hope if they don't charge her separately for that, I hope it's included into her charges. Either way it goes, I hope she's charged with this, and I hope she spends the rest of her life, or what's left of it, in prison. Put her under the jail. Actually, put her in the cement mixer that they use to lay the foundation. Put her in that and lay the foundation, and put the jail on top of that. I am so sick of these people. I can't even tell you. I'm not sure if I'm going to cover all of the parts, or the trial, and do it in parts in videos. But if I find anything interesting else about this case, which I'm pretty sure there will be, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be some lies before her attorney wraps up their statements and everything. But If I do find something else interesting that I think you guys should know, I will bring a part 2 to this. But until then, guys, that brings me to the end of today's video. If you like today's video, please don't forget to leave me a like. Please don't forget to leave me a comment down in the comment section below. And if you are not already subscribed before you leave, please make sure that you subscribe, because that helps me out so much with videos like these. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.